Welcome to today's web conference, U.S. Azure Partner Community Call for January. I'd like to turn it over to your first presenter, Jonathan Gardner, National PTS for Microsoft. Jonathan, you now have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be picking up this call. We're glad that you joined us today for the call in January. Happy New Year. This is our first call back from the new year. This year we're going to talk just a few topics from the Community Roundup section. We have some updates on Pi, and then we're really going to focus. We have a really great speaker with us today to talk about the business opportunity of analytics. Interestingly enough, it was high on the list of topics that came back that people responded to in the polls that we were just looking at. So we're certainly glad that we could present that to you. We've been kind of covering down on some of those topics this month, so we certainly want to make sure that we talk about those today. So Nick, I'll let you cover the Pi engine, and then we'll get started with the presentation.
Sounds good. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Just wanted to bring to your attention something that we've talked about over the last several months, the Partner Investment Engine. Obviously a big source of funding and enabling some of the things that you guys as partners are doing. Just so you know, on February 1st, we are going to be launching a new Partner Investment Engine Pi portal. And so we don't want you to be caught off guard. We want you to be ready for that. So to help you get trained up on that, there are going to be 10 sessions. So I'm sure we can find one of those that's going to fit for you. There's a link to it on the Yammer group there. I'm going to post that link into the messages window here in the browser here in just a moment. But we want you to come and make sure that you are familiar with that, ready to go. On that Yammer group, we'll be posting some how-to guides, training videos, and so on. So make sure that you or whoever it is in your organization that engages with the Pi engine on a regular basis is ready to go, so that on February 1st you can continue to take advantage of that funding and close FY16 with a bang. So that's all I've got to say about that. More to come, but be aware of that. So Jonathan, back to you.
Thanks, Nick. So some of the things that we've got going on in the community, I decided to make these largely data and analytics focused, since that's the topic of our call today. We certainly have a ton of things going on, so we try and post those on the Yammer group as they happen. But the Microsoft is having a Data Insight Summit the 23rd and the 22nd and 23rd of March in Bellevue. Really going to be focused around what we talk about today on the call, which is going to be a lot of Power BI and being able to visualize that data. One of the important things is making sense of that data and how you actually use it. So that whole training is going to be based around that. The link will be certainly in the presentation. We'll put it on the Yammer group as well after the call. So certainly want you to check that out if that's something you're interested in. Check that out and get registered. Get over to Bellevue. It never hurts to come up to that part of the country. It's always fun. So updates to ASR. So Azure Site Recovery has gotten some updates that really make it a little bit. It reduces the complexity for installation and configuration. Has some changes to leveraging ExpressRoute for the fallback and deploying of additional components. Extended support for VM enterprise class workloads, doing some non-disruptive disaster recovery testing. So there'll be a link, of course, to that as well for you to take a look at. So we've got some really good updates there. And the other one is vCenter 6 support and Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6.7 support for ASR. So those are some big highlights there. Whoops. Go back to that slide before we get started. And then Azure Data Lake is now integrated with Azure Data Catalog. So Azure Data Lake, fantastic way to take on some of those really unstructured data workloads. We've got that could be a whole other presentation and getting in an overview of that. But its integration makes it easier for you to find solutions, and that's going to be one of the things that Alan talks about. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Alan to talk about the business opportunity of analytics. If you have any questions about anything throughout the presentation, just hit us with a message, and I'll do the best I can to cover down on that. Anything we can't cover in a Q&A session, we will cover on in the Yammer group after the call. So I'll turn it over to you, Alan.
Thanks, Jonathan, and good morning or good early afternoon, depending on when you're at. Thank you very much for joining the call. Let me just go to the agenda I put together here. Bear with me. So I'm assuming you can see slide 6. So what I wanted to cover today is to talk a little bit about advanced analytics and who our target market is, the solutions that we want to focus on directly and with our partners, and then cover some information on product. First, talking about the Cortana Analytics Suite, some of the use case scenarios, some of the customer evidence we have. It might seem interesting to talk about this with a bunch of Azure partners, but I also want to talk about our server, which is now available in volume licensing, and this is an on-premises solution for advanced analytics. And the reason that's important is that it really opens up some great hybrid solution opportunities for customers that may not want to move all their data to the cloud, may want to do some of the work in delivering a solution on premises, and just completes, I think, our solution stack fully with this offering. And then I want to transition and talk about Power BI, which is a great complement to Azure. It lives in the cloud, great data visualization solution that we're investing heavily in and is rapidly improving, and from a price point, very competitive against other key competitors in the market out there. And so I'll go through that. I'll show you a demo, and I'll talk about some opportunities to partner with us around Power BI, and then more broadly, specifically around Cortana Red Carpet, Cortana Analytics Red Carpet program, and some other offers we have in market that I think you might be interested in. So this is a slide that I like to use to position advanced analytics with customers and with partners, and it's just a nice breakdown. This is something Gartner put together that shows the difference between traditional BI on the left and advanced analytics on the right. And the way I like to think about it is traditional BI is primarily focused on answering two questions. At a base level, what happened? So did we make forecast or not? Maybe how much we missed forecast by. And then as you progress a little bit from a complexity standpoint, you get into some diagnostic workloads. So why did something happen? You have the ability to drill down and identify root cause. And that's something we really, I think, enable with Power BI from a data visualization standpoint, is some very good descriptive traditional BI. And what we highlight in this chart is that as you move from left to right, you get into more complexity and more difficulty in deploying these solutions. At the same time, you're getting more value out of them. The vision that we have with Cortana Analytics Suite and things like our server is to mitigate that difficulty and make this much easier for our customers to adopt these workloads and democratize access to advanced analytics. And so when you get into advanced analytics, you're using a computer to look at multiple scenarios and enable prediction of what will happen. And what that opens up is the ability for the user of these solutions to optimize resources and really get a lot more efficient around how they're driving their business. And then at the highest level, you have prescriptive analytics, i.e., how can we make something happen? And that is a stage where a workload is taking predetermined prescriptive actions based on a predicted outcome. And I'll show you an example of that with a video I'll show you in a few seconds from Dartmouth Hitchcock, one of the largest healthcare providers in the Northeast. And so just to give you a sense of the workloads we're going after with Cortana Analytics Suite and our server, we're thinking of it from a role standpoint and crossing industry and vertical with this. So sales and marketing, there's some great things you can do around marketing mix optimization, loyalty programs, as well as from a customer and channel standpoint, there's a lot of interest in predicting and mitigating customer churn. From a finance and risk standpoint, we have a real strength here with our server. Our server is based on some IP we acquired when we acquired a company called Revolution Analytics. They had a real strength in fraud detection in financial services, and this is a core workload that customers get value from with advanced analytics workloads. Think about credit card fraud as an example. And then operations and workforce, there's a lot of interest in predictive maintenance workloads. A lot of these workloads will leverage Internet of Things type solutions where we're taking data, streaming data in many cases from connected devices, and integrating that into a solution. And so the point here is almost any customer can get value out of an advanced analytics workload, and the vision is really to work with our partners to deliver these workloads over time. So let me show you this video quick. I like to really quickly. I like to show this as I think it makes these solutions a little more real.
Financial pressures on care providers are increasing. This isn't sustainable. So how can we deliver high-quality, personalized care that patients deserve, given the cost pressures we face? At Dartmouth-Hitchcock, we've created Imagine Care, a new cloud-based solution built on Cortana Analytics.
Yeah.
The video is not coming through on the presentation end, just FYI.
Okay, well, I won't make you sit through a blank screen for the next 2 minutes. What we'll do is we'll send out the link to the video after the presentation. It's a nice 2-minute video that I think does a really good job of articulating the vision of prescriptive analytics. And the scenario is around patient care, specifically customers that come in to a hospital emergency room and then may be readmitted later. This is a very big cost driver for a hospital and a very big it's a risk to the patients that have to come in many cases when they're readmitted is for something catastrophic. And so the solution that Dartmouth-Hitchcock has put together is a solution that allows them to monitor patients remotely and proactively determine if they need to come back in, or conversely if they don't, which reduces costs. And that is something they've delivered using Cortana Analytics Suite. So I'd encourage you to have a look at that when we send out the notes to this, and I apologize for that not coming through. So this is a slide that I like to show. It's got some nice graphics, but again, when you get this deck afterwards, you'll see links to these in the notes for this slide that allow you to read these case studies. But the point here is to showcase some of the value that our customers are getting from advanced analytics. And the way I like to think about advanced analytics, and just perhaps a non-standard way of talking about it, is this is really Moneyball for anyone's business, right? And so customers are finding a way to use their data to extract value using the power of the cloud and the power of our server and Cortana Analytics Suite. And I'll highlight a couple of these. So Ziosk is a solution in use at a number of restaurant chains, primarily Chili's. And if you've ever been to a Chili's recently, you'll see a tablet on the table where you can order food and, among other things, rate your server. And that tablet will also position potential additional menu items you might want to order. Aside from that, which is, I think, a powerful thing to do, there's a lot of data that tablet captures, and it allows the restaurant chain using it to do some really interesting analytics and optimize product mix, optimize the quality of service they're delivering. And so that's one of the areas where we've been able to deliver value with advanced analytics. Another example, completely different, is Wash Laundry. This is a company that has washers and dryers across condos and apartment complexes across the country. And they've used advanced analytics to optimize the maintenance associated with these machines, as well as to drive real-time pricing. And so based on demand at peak times, they actually vary how much they charge for the use of their machines, which drives more profitability. So another interesting use case. A couple others. So we worked with an electric utility in Europe called eSmart, and they've done some great work to prevent electrical blackouts. And so there's been a lot of interest from power companies in driving these kind of solutions with us, and this is just one example. And then one of the examples we like to call out a lot is Rockwell Automation. They used advanced analytics to optimize water delivery through pumps that they pump out of aquifers and other sources, and save $300K a day in making sure that the supply they delivered was optimized for the demand. So it's almost similar to how utilities like electrical companies are using advanced analytics, but another tangible example. And the point with this slide is not only to highlight the solutions we deliver, but again to highlight the fact that this crosses industry vertical across different solution areas. And so this is just a quick slide. You can read up on this offline, but it just breaks down at a good summary level what we deliver with Cortana. So one of the things we're building and building that through partners, and you have the ability to do this through the Azure Gallery and Azure Marketplace, is pre-configured solutions. So think of this as something like Ziosk, where you might create a solution that you can go to market with that uses IP you've developed and drive delivery of that through Cortana Analytics Suite. We deliver a consumption layer through dashboards and visualizations through things like Power BI. The machine learning and analytics component is delivered through Azure Machine Learning, among other things. Then, of course, we have the big data store as part of Cortana. And then this is all consumed through the use of perceptual intelligence, and in some cases, where needed, the use of a personal digital assistant, and you'll see that in the Dartmouth video. You're probably familiar with this slide and these services. It just breaks it down in terms of categories, how we deliver these services. And I'm not going to go through this in detail, but what I want to point out is this is the vision of what we deliver through Cortana. I'm going to show you another version of this slide later in the deck that integrates SQL Server and shows you how you can deliver this same thing on premises, as again, some of your customers may want to capitalize on these services on-prem for various reasons, and then drive some components of a solution in the cloud as part of a hybrid scenario. And so the slide I'll show you later that kind of breaks down how you can do that. So I want to change gears here a little bit and talk about our server and set some context first. I'm just going to click through this so I don't have to do that as I speak. So my assumption is that you're familiar with R at some level, but it's a language platform for statistics, analytics, and data scientists. It's got some data visualization capabilities. It's very widely adopted as an open source language. It's the most taught open source language for this kind of workload in our colleges and universities. There's a strong pipeline of capabilities coming out of our educational institutions, which means that as companies hire going forward, they're going to have these capabilities in their workforce through their data scientists. It's used by 2.5 million data scientists currently. I talked about the university adoption, and so that's just some context. From a history standpoint, this was founded as part of a research project in New Zealand in 1993. Over time, it has grown dramatically. One of the things that Revolution Analytics delivered, and this was in the early 2000s, was a more scalable enterprise-ready version of open source R that was leveraging proprietary IP they've developed, and that's really what we acquired as part of the acquisition and can deliver now as something we call R Server. I'm going to scroll through some of these very quickly as I put in a bunch of slides, but I don't want to go too deep. But open source R is great, and the power of being able to use open source R is that you have this vast community that is developing solutions that you can leverage as a data scientist or someone delivering a solution. At the same time, the support for these open source solutions is uncertain and therefore carries with it potential incremental costs that are unknown. There's limited scalability with it. We can show you in other content we have the enterprise level version of this we deliver scales much better than an open source version, and so that's why we think we deliver incremental value with our version. And so you get the peace of mind of something that's supported. You get the scalability of something that's enterprise ready. And you have the flexibility to deliver this on premises or in the cloud. And you can write these scripts once and deploy them either on premises or in Azure is another key benefit. And these I'm going to click right through because they essentially just expound on the same points I just made. So bear with me. I intended to take these out and I didn't. And so this is just a slide that kind of breaks down, again, the value prop with SQL Server R services. To give you just some insight on why I brought this in. So we are going to launch SQL Server 2016 later this year. Our server, the ability to use that will come with SQL Server 2016, and so you can think of customers that have software assurance currently as having the ability to use our server, and it just, from a cost standpoint, really makes it a compelling offering for those that want to do some of these workloads on premises and not have to think about using a different vendor. And so another point I'll make is if you think about everything we deliver through Cortana or now in combination with our server and Cortana Analytics Suite, most companies that are buying these workloads currently are likely, in many cases, to be using different vendors for components of that solution. I think we have a unique value proposition at Microsoft in that you can go with us and drive an end-to-end solution with us as the sole provider of that and get the benefit of all these things working seamlessly together. And of course our cost, our value that we deliver, I should say, is compelling relative to a lot of the competitors out there, who I won't mention, but if you look at some of the big market players in advanced analytics, there's a lot of complexity in the licensing model. There's very high cost. And so we deliver both, I think, really strong feature functionality as well as value at the same time. We do offer two products. We actually support Microsoft R Open, and this is an open source free product. And then through SQL Server, we deliver our services, which is something that is included with SQL Server 2016 and has the enterprise level capabilities that most of your customers are going to want for these solutions. The other key point I want to make here is we have solutions for other platforms. So there's Microsoft R Server for Red Hat, for SUSE Linux, for Teradata, and for Hadoop on Red Hat. And so the way I think about these is, although you'd be selling these and not selling SQL, the benefit is from our standpoint, it's a great way for us to make a beachhead win into other non-Microsoft workloads and eventually pull through the rest of our stack and add value to these customers, as they may have very good reasons for, at least in the short term, wanting to stay on their existing platform. So again, I mentioned this slide earlier. This is just a great view that captures our end-to-end platform for analytics, including both the Azure components that deliver these various services as well as the SQL Server components. And I won't go into this in detail. I just think it's a nice view to kind of highlight the capabilities we have both on-premises and the cloud that enable you to deliver hybrid solutions. Just some links that we've included in this deck for you to learn more about our server. I have full intention, with the help of our worldwide team, to drive some incremental readiness around R. This is a huge opportunity, so be on the lookout for that. In the short term, what we're going to do is add some more information about R to the content that we share through the Cortana Analytics Red Carpet program, which I think many of you are probably members of. If you're not, I'd encourage you to sign up, and so look for some more information to land there, as well as these links that we provided here. So I want to transition a bit and talk about Power BI, and just to give you some context, I really love this product, and I'll tell you why I love it. I spent 9.5 years of my career working in finance, and enjoyed some aspects of that. One of the things I really didn't enjoy is when you had a big review. We used to deliver this in PowerPoint when I worked for Microsoft, and I'd go into this big review with a 40 to 50 page slide deck, because what I would do is I'd take snapshots of pivots with different iterations of the information by segment, by product, just trying to anticipate what someone would ask as a question when I went through the review, because it was too onerous to go into it in real time. A pivot could crash. You might not have access to it. The file you were accessing was too large and it would time out. There was too many things that could go wrong. And so what you can do with a solution like Power BI, what a customer can do, I should say, is they can for one, enable real-time analysis and drill down. And so as you're getting a question from a leader you're presenting to, you don't have to have that slide ready to go. You simply drill down using the data visualization to get them the answer. The other value that this brings, having been in finance again, you get really used to looking at rows and tables and kind of dry reports and being able to understand them quickly. But when you're presenting to an audience that doesn't do that all day, every day, it really helps to have something that uses compelling visualization, charts, graphs, to make understanding the analysis you're presenting more intuitive. What the value we bring from this, aside from those, is the vision here is to go from what has traditionally been something delivered by central IT, where there were long lead time development cycles, up to 6 months in many cases, that leverage consulting dollars to deliver a given report. And so that's the centralized IT model that can be very costly. And the negative side of that, aside from cost, is if it takes that long to develop a report, you often end up with something that doesn't meet what, by the time you deliver it, are different business needs. And so if you can deliver a report more quickly, you're likely to deliver something that adds value, that aligns better to what the actual ask was initially. And so that's where self-service BI comes in, which we look at as the second wave here, is enabling power users who, think of a financial analyst, a marketing analyst, to build their own reports without having to go through central IT, and do so much more quickly and at a lower cost. And that was what we think of as a second wave. In the third wave, which we're trying to enable with Power BI, it's not only these power analysts per se, but the actual end users who can create their own reports. And the thing that's not really captured in this slide that I like to talk to, because we've used Power BI at Microsoft for going on 8 years now, is when you get to the second wave and beyond, you get to a point where you can have this virtuous relationship with central IT, where as your analysts and your end users create reports, the central team that was primarily responsible for reporting in the past can capture the best of breed of these, the best practices, if you want to think of it that way, and scale them out and share them broadly. The other key value we deliver here is, of course, just making insights available to everyone, and there's a number of studies we've done that show that companies that share insights broadly and use varied and new levels of ways of delivering that extract a lot more value from their business. So this can be a competitive advantage, is another way of thinking about it. From a pricing standpoint, we're very compelling relative to key competitors out there. In some cases, about 20% of the cost. We have a product that comes with this, just to jump ahead a little bit. This is delivered as a web service, and I'll show you what that looks like on PowerBI.com. But there's a product we deliver for free called Power BI Desktop that is used to build the reports and pin them to Power BI. Our competitors charge up to $1,000 a year to deliver that. And so as you think of being a Microsoft partner and going in and you're competing for wallet share around total IT spend, you can help your customers save money by leveraging Power BI as a data visualization solution, and then help them think about using that to drive incremental projects that they wouldn't otherwise have budget for. And so I'll go into this a little bit, and so the point with the slide is to highlight that you can use your existing BI investments in conjunction with Power BI, and so you can pull data directly from Excel and model it, analyze an author, and pin it to Power BI. We've got great built-in connectors to SQL Server analysis services, as well as SQL Server reporting services. One of the capabilities we will have with SQL 2016 is our customers will have the ability to pin a SQL Server reporting services report directly to Power BI. And so there'd be seamless integration between existing investments in SQL and Power BI. And this is just a slide that kind of highlights some of the key value again. Another point I'd make here, this is what we mean by end-to-end view, is you have data on premises, you have data in the cloud, in Azure, other sources, you have data from SaaS providers, which I'll talk about a little bit more, things like Salesforce.com, Marketo. With Power BI, our customers have the ability to connect to all of these and create dashboards that can be consumed by end users and get the most out of this data. It can be streaming data, it can be static data, and so again, some great capabilities if you're thinking of scenarios that might leverage Azure Stream ASL, you can use this as part of that solution. And so again, our key differentiators are the ability to connect to SaaS solutions, real-time dashboards. Security is provided through Active Directory, through Power BI Premium. The tool itself is very intuitive. There's a natural language capability, which I haven't talked about yet, but think of this as being able to type in a question, which you can explore through PowerBI.com, but basically you have an end user has the ability to type in a question in natural language, and Power BI will dynamically produce a chart that answers that question. I talked about integration already. And so to talk about SaaS services, this is an ever-expanding portfolio of SaaS providers, Marketo, Twilio, Salesforce.com, that can directly connect to that you can directly connect to through Power BI. And so think of someone that has Salesforce data where they're looking at their pipeline, their lead data, whatever it may be. They have a subscription that they pay for as part of that. We provide the ability with Power BI to log into that and have content packs to support expressing that data as data visualizations through Power BI for these services and more. And again, this is ever expanding. And so what this really does is just makes it very easy for you as a partner to very quickly deliver value and drive adoption of Power BI with your customers. From a market standpoint, this is a view that Forrester put together. We're recognized as a market leader in this category with a strong ability to deliver from a strategy standpoint, as well as our current offering in market. And I will say that, again, we're very heavily investing in this. One of the things we have coming this month that was honestly a gap is you think about health analytics. It's one of the areas where customers have a high degree of interest in this kind of solution. And as of this month, very soon, we will be certified for HIPAA BA compliance, meaning that health data can be leveraged as part of these solutions. And we're really on a 6-month cycle of adding progressively more enhancements to the product. And so this will get better and better over time is the point I want to make here. So let me transition a bit and share my desktop and go through a quick demo to try to make this a little more real. As I've been talking about what the product does, I think there's no better way to do that than to show you. And let me go back to the dashboard. And so the concept here is that the person using this might be a CFO or a finance director, and they want to have a good summary view of their business. And so what we've created is a revenue and profitability dashboard, an expense management dashboard, a financial planning and analysis dashboard, and also something that focuses on risk and compliance. And what these represent are just views with various charts and tiles that we've presented around the business for this person to consume through PowerBI.com, and then you have associated drill down capabilities. So in this case, we've got a tile that expresses what their gross sales are. You can see where they're trending relative to their goals for gross profit and sales are at about $8 billion. And then we've got gross sales by country expressed as this tree map here, which is, I just think, a great way of understanding market size that can be used in a number of different scenarios. And then we have a view of variance to budget on the left-hand side here, and you can see that the U.S. Is driving the most positive variance to budget at nearly $700,000. And so as I click on this, it's going to bring up the Power BI desktop report with the drill down capabilities. And so what I want to understand as I do this is what's driving that variance in the U.S. And bear with me here as I click on the right area. And when I do that, what this does is it modifies all of these views in this report to reflect only the U.S. And the first thing I want to look at is the variance to budget by channel. You can see that positive trend for online sales, positive trend for retail stores. Televisions are actually missing budget, and wholesale is coming in okay as well. And then looking at it by customer segment, they seem to be missing among around loyalty programs for existing customers. They are doing some positive business here with new customers or non-loyalty customers. And so, again, I want to drill down and see what's driving at a worldwide level the variance to budget for televisions, which is looking like it's about 30 million over budget in this view. And you can see, again, the U.S. missing. But in Brazil, we have a quite strong variance to budget, and you can drill into that and understand how they're achieving that. And again, it pivots and shows you across different categories how Brazil's doing. This chart down here shows you the actual product category and the performance there. So what I want to do now is go back to the dashboard and look at FP&A. Again, you can see that variance to budget is 57K. Actual expenses are coming in at 30 million. As I click on that, that's going to pull up the detailed report that I can use to drill down. As I look at this, I can see that overall, in this case, a negative variance in this particular chart I'm highlighting here is considered positive because we want to come in below our expenses. This is the expense management dashboard. I misstated earlier saying it was FP&A. Where we're missing, i.e. a positive variance here, is around procurement. I'd like to understand where that's happening, and so I click on that, and you can see that from a procurement standpoint, it's primarily Europe and APAC that are driving that variance, and where that's coming is through online sales. And from a negative standpoint, we're spending less on televisions. Perhaps we should spend more given the miss we're seeing from a revenue standpoint. And so I won't go through all of this. The point is you have these capabilities to drill down across multiple categories. It's very easy to create these visualizations. I'll just highlight one other capability. This is the actual FP&A dashboard. You can do these nice slicers here, and so I'm going to slice here and look at Australia and kind of understand their performance by category. Just to highlight some of the capabilities you have, you can do trend lines as you see here. And they're interactive. When you're building this, you would see in this pane in Power BI Desktop a lot of different options to select to create these views. You can have just tables as we've created in this particular view here. So I'd encourage you to go to PowerBI.com and look at some of the dashboards we have in place here. Again, the vision here with Power BI is to enable a broader community to consume and create these dashboards and make the data more intuitive and easier to understand. I mentioned the natural language query capabilities earlier. This is where you type in a question and then it would dynamically produce a visualization that would answer that question, which I'm not going to do in this particular instance. So let me go back to the deck and stop presenting my desktop.
Hey, Alan?
Yes.
Can you go through the date for HIPAA compliance again? Somebody had a question in that.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of information there, but there's a high degree of regulatory compliance that is required when you're using patient data as a health provider or health payer for that matter. And one of the gaps we had was being certified for HIPAA BAA compliance, i.e. the ability to consume that data as part of a Power BI solution. And that was because it was in the cloud, right? For on-premises solutions, we of course met those compliance requirements. The target date, I don't have the specific target date for this month, but the target is for us to be HIPAA BAA compliant this month, which will open up a lot of opportunities for our partners to work with health providers and health payers to deliver data visualization solutions with Power BI. And I'll see if I can find more information on that and share more information once I have that. So this is the deck again. I think I'm going to have to click through to the slide I was on earlier, so bear with me while I do that. I'm happy to take another question while we're waiting for that. And it looks like I'm running a little short on time, so I'm going to try to speed up this process a little bit here and make sure I cover some of the opportunities we have to partner. Sorry about having to click through all this. It's a little slow.
Can you make a Power BI dashboard public, or is it just access for named users?
Yeah, so what I can share is stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned, and there'll be positive news at some future point, and I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, so I can't say more than that. But we're very aware of that opportunity and the need to do that. Okay, so just very quickly, so this is something we're launching in February, and this is a key opportunity to partner with us to showcase what you as a Microsoft partner can deliver. And we're piloting this with 19 partners in February, and it will be open more broadly. How you'll be able to start the engagement process to do what I'm going to talk about shortly is through the Power BI Red Carpet program. But think of going to PowerBI.com as a customer and wanting to understand what the value is to you. If you're sitting in public sector and you work with public sector data, wouldn't it be great if you could go in and see a solution that leveraged public sector data and express visualizations? Could be census data, could be one of the multitude of sources that are available publicly. It could be a healthcare solution, as another example. You'd want to go in and see a population health solution if you were in healthcare as a provider, and how you could use Power BI to deliver that solution. What we've created is something we're calling at this point the Partner and Industry Solution Showcase, and that's precisely what we're trying to do. Is we're going to have on PowerBI.com this solutions kind of drop down, and as a customer clicks on that, they'll be able to choose by vertical or by role. They'll be able to select by vertical, by role, and what that'll bring up is a variety of partner-delivered solutions specific to that role or vertical that they can drill through, test the data visualizations, and really get a better understanding of how they can use Power BI in their solution. And this is a mock-up for what it might look like. We'll enable the partners to talk about specifically what they deliver, how to engage with them, and again, the customer will have the ability to drill through. There'll be capabilities to search by country, by industry, by role, as I stated earlier. I'd highly encourage you to think about what you might want to focus on, because I know many of you focus on specific industries and verticals and have the capabilities to deliver business intelligence solutions. This is a great way for you to get those in front of customers and enable them to engage directly with you to drive deployment. And again, how you'd find out about that is through the Power BI Red Carpet program. I want to quickly highlight a couple of other things that we deliver in the short time we have left, that you can partner with us, I should say, to deliver. In the US sub last year, we could have created a program called Dashboard in a Day, and the vision with Dashboard in a Day was to go directly to the end users, the business analysts who build these solutions and use them in their day-to-day work, and train them through delivery of some labs on how to use Power BI through an on-site engagement. And the way we drove these is through a one-to-few engagement, meaning 10 to 20 different customers at a Microsoft Office or an MTC. And the call to action from those was to connect with the attendees and see if they were interested in doing a one-to-one session where you would take some of their data as a partner or as Microsoft directly in our case and build a dashboard using their data, again, to allow them to start using it and understand how it's relevant to their business. What we've opened up is we've put in place, it'll land as part of PI in February, is an incentive for partners to go drive these Dashboard in a Day sessions. You can find the assets to do this on the Red Carpet site for Power BI, and the incentive is going to be $5K. That'll land in February. Everything you need to do that, if you have the capabilities to drive business intelligence solutions, is there. Again, a great way to connect directly with customers and provide some value to them, and then drive some good follow-up actions around POCs that ideally lead to a longer-term engagement to drive a departmental or, in some cases, enterprise-level delivery. The other thing we're working on, and so I want to have this in place in February, it's going to take a little more work, is Power BI is included with Office 365 E5, which is our new hero SKU for Power BI. That right now there's a POC offer available for E3 POCs. I want to say it's about 3K. What I'm working on is adding an incremental 2K of funding to that, with the incentive being for partners to drive an E5 POC. As part of that delivery, build a Power BI dashboard, take a snapshot, that'd be the proof of execution you would provide, and then the overall incentive amount would be 5K in this instance. And so be on the lookout for that. I fully intend to get that in place in February. I think there'll be a lot of interest. One of the things we want to do, the work through our partners and through our sales teams, is do the work around is to show customers the value they get from Power BI, both as a standalone product and as part of E5. It's one of the more expensive standalone components of what a customer is buying when they move from E3 to E5. At a cost level, it's $120 a year. I haven't talked about that yet. If you buy it standalone, so basically $10 a month subscription, which is very, very competitive. But we want to make sure customers understand the value they're getting when they look at E5. So very, very quickly, so we offer through the Cortana Analytics Red Carpet program, a link will be included in this deck to that program, the ability to partner with our engineering team. We also encourage you to do this on your own if you have the capability. But a proof of value engagement is where you go into a customer or we go into a customer, and we, over the course of a 3-week time frame, deliver a working proof of concept that is centered around an advanced analytics solution using Cortana Analytics Suite or some components of that, of course, or our server and some Azure components. The goal here is to align a solution to a customer's business goals, identify that there's data to support a solution that is an advanced analytics solution, identify potential ROI associated with that. That's a measure of success. And then before you do this or we do this, we want to make sure the customer, if one has the intent to implement. But as I'm going through this quickly, I'm kind of jumping around here a bit. The idea here is many customers don't really appreciate fully the value they can get out of an advanced analytics solution. So if you as a partner go in and align a potential solution to their business goals, prove out that value with a POC, you then have the potential in Mindshare to drive a bigger project, to drive a larger deployment of Azure, and that's what this program is really about. It has some assets associated with this. Where I mentioned engineering resources earlier is for partners that don't yet have the ability to deliver this, for use cases that meet the right criteria that are at 40% in pipeline. You can actually request to work with our data science team to drive delivery of this solution. You would work with our global black belt team in kind of scoping out the request for that. Again, I've got assets on this. I'll scroll through a couple of these slides and talk to how you can sign up or express an interest in that program before I finish the call. But if you join the Red Carpet program, there's a concierge service where you can ask about the engineering support to drive a proof of value. It's a great way for you to stay up to date on the latest content and any kind of product changes we have around Cortana Analytics. And then, again, you'll find information on showcasing your solutions and co-selling with us. I highlighted one of those opportunities with what we're delivering through the solution showcase on Power BI. But there are opportunities specific to Cortana Analytics Suite as well. And these slides just go into more detail and have links that you can access. I'm not going to go through them as we're very limited on time. There is a Yammer group in the U.S. specific to the Proof of Value program where I'm able to kind of track who's interested in delivering these with us. There's a link you can see on this slide right here to sign up to that Yammer group and express interest. So that's the last thing I wanted to highlight. I'll turn it back over to you, Jonathan. Thank you all for attending and listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a ton of information. We got some really good questions. The final question I wanted to ask you though is Power BI supported with ExpressRoute? I know Office 365 is, but I didn't know if that included Power BI as well.
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. So let me connect with you offline, and we can follow up on that.
We will follow up in the Yammer group for that. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for the call today. I'm going to go ahead and take over as presenter, and we'll run through the rest of the slides we have today, which is really just kind of talking about where you can contact us. And let me swing down here to the very end. Just a second. If you haven't joined us on the Yammer community yet, we certainly talked about it a ton today. Please do that. Sign up for our newsletter where we send out a lot of information every month, and then follow us on the U.S. Partner blog. Now, this call and the posts that are coming out this month about analytics and SQL data platforms in the cloud has kind of been a soft launch for us to actually start up another community on data and analytics. So you'll see communications coming with that in the next few weeks. So when that comes out, if that's something you're interested in, it certainly seems to be from the call or from the poll notes earlier. That's we'd love to have you join into that community and get more specific information around data platforms and advanced analytics. With that, we thank you very much. We certainly would appreciate it if you fill out the survey. It helps us tailor this content for you guys, helps us shape and be better as presenters. So if you would do that, we'd certainly appreciate it. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Kim.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. Ladies and gentlemen, your feedback is important. We hope that you found today's information helpful. Please take a few minutes to let us know by completing a short survey. Please click on the messages button to find the link to the survey. And you can access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference. And I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenters, Jonathan, Nick, and Alan. This concludes today's web conference. You may now disconnect.